Hello, and welcome to the week ahead report for the 17th to the 23rd of July, 2023. Now, we've got a few shifts this week, one of them, the massive one, being Venus going retrograde. So next Sunday is going to be big. So we also have the new moon in Cancer on Tuesday, the nodes shifting from Scorpio and Taurus into Aries and Libra, and all sorts of feely changes to be addressed this week. So, okay, let me share my screen and let's have a look at the week ahead. All right, so Monday, all right, so we go into the week with the moon in Cancer, so we are automatically in the feels. Now, the new moon isn't until 4:30 Tuesday morning, but this just gives us the space to, in the dark of the moon, be very reflective. What are my needs when it comes to nurturing? We're coming up to this Sun opposition Pluto in 5 days. We've got the Sun, and it's just come off its square to Chiron. So those fresh wounds or those old hurts are fresh in our mind. We know what it is that has put us in the position where we do feel like we need a cuddle. Okay, so Venus is all but stationary right now. She is just crawling along. She has got her finger on her chin. She is reassessing already. And if she's not already doing the reassessing, then she's having a good look around at what her life involves right now. And she's ready to take a stand. So, all right, now we've got last week we had Mars move into Virgo. So even just that, it gives us this feeling where we're ready to address the details of life, like what are the things that have got me here, and the finer points. Like, we want to be very specific when we're thinking about these new moon intentions. On Sunday the 16th, we had the opportunity to address the important people in our lives and start to bring up some of these things that we want changed, especially where family, home, children, our ancestry, our old patterns of belief are concerned. And like I said, with that Sun opposition Pluto, we are looking at how we can restructure and reinforce the foundations in our life to make them more relevant to the needs that we have now. We're not so much concerned with, what is tradition. Tradition, I've just posted, tradition is peer pressure from our ancestors. We do not need to hold on to these old stories anymore. With the new moon on Tuesday, we get to set a whole new series of intentions about getting our needs met. All right, so that was Monday. Don't push too far unless you've got the support around you. Again, the Cancer moon is quite needy and emotional. So, if you're ready to start transforming these, these outdated ideas, then awesome, go for it. If you're a little bit sensitive at the moment, then just maybe write them down as something that can be addressed in the coming time. Okay, so I'm going to move forward. I will go to the actual new moon time, which is around 4:30 a.m. on Tuesday morning. Now, the new moon is at 4:30 a.m. Now, the nodes move sign at 4:15 a.m. All right, so they've moved from the north node being in Taurus, which is Venus ruled, and the south node being in Scorpio, which is Mars ruled. As soon as they move, we then have the north node in Aries, which is Mars ruled, and the south node in Libra, which is Venus ruled. So they flip polarities. All right, now with the nodes moving into Aries in Libra, it's more about the individual. It's me versus we. All right, so with the north node in Taurus, we were more concerned with moving ahead and getting, it was more of a sensual, sensory way forward, looking at luxury, finances, being comfortable in that momentum forward. Whereas when the North Node moves into Aries, it's so much more independent and driven, Mars ruled. The things that we're letting go of, rather than being Scorpio and being enmeshed with people, it's still a relationship type of thing that we need to let go of. But I feel like it's more of, where am I too maybe codependent? Where am I relying too much on a union in my own life? We're now in a very independent, momentum forward looking state. All right, so the nodes move at 4:15, and then at 4:30 the new moon in Cancer. All right, so what do you want your family systems to look like now? We've had a lot of processing, again with the node shift and then the new moon. Maybe we can be more self-reliant moving forward. Maybe we don't need to rely on an old, outdated family dynamic or family system where the relationship or the family was, two parents and 2.3 kids. Now it might look like something totally different. Maybe the woman is the sole breadwinner. There's just a whole different dynamic. So you can set your intentions based on what your experience looks like right now. What are your needs? All right, so we wake up on Tuesday morning and we've just got this whole new insight. All right, so we can emotionally tune in to what it is we need. We're able to vocalize this much easier with Mercury being in Leo. We are able to stand proud and state our needs. Okay, now like I said, tune into your feelings, and there's just so much more happening right now, which is very independent, and just go get them. Okay, so now on Tuesday the moon moves into Leo at 2:39 in the afternoon. So we're gonna, even that, we have this self-reflective morning, and then in the afternoon we're able to sort of pick up ourselves, brush ourselves off, and be like, right, let's get into it. Maybe you have an emotional morning or first half of the day, and then by the afternoon you're much more ready to engage in the dynamic that has taken place. Okay, all right, now let's move over to Wednesday. Okay, so now Wednesday, let me just move forward a couple of hours. Okay, let's just go there. Okay, so now Wednesday, we've got this sun starting to really get tight in the opposition to Pluto. We're really, really looking at the family dynamics. We're really looking at our family systems. The chapters of your life that have already passed you by. So, if you now saying that you're the author of your life, how are you going to adapt the plot so it's much more congruent with what you are actually living your life like now? The universe is getting into a place where it is demanding change. And if you can actually trust that the universe knows what it's giving you, even though, sometimes it's just not what you thought you were going to be doing in life. Okay, so it's like the universe is offering you a different outfit. You might have had the Venus retrograde, even this is relevant. You might have had a certain style all your life, and the universe is like, here, try this coat on, see how this fits you. Maybe you're leaving the confines of a previous held belief. All right, so just before you refuse to put that new coat on, put it on, see how it feels, jump around in it. You never know, you might love it. All right, so that was Wednesday. Now, going forward to Thursday. Okay. So Thursday, all right. So we've had the moon conjuncting Mercury earlier on in the morning. It's giving us a confidence to address things. All right. Venus is now she's pretty much standing still, even though she goes retrograde on Sunday. She retrogrades at 28 degrees. And I mean, if you are looking at this, you can see she is at 28 degrees here. We've got that moon Mercury conjunction earlier in the day. We've got this really strong opposition happening now. We've also got Mars and Saturn also opposing. All right, what does this mean? Maybe you will have the confidence to either stand up against something that is oppressing you, or be able to vocalize. Maybe you've had a mentor or someone who's told you what to do for the longest time, and you have just accepted that as the way to go. Excuse me. Maybe you can now be like, hey, what about this idea? What do you think? Excuse me. I'm just going to stop for a sec. Okay, that didn't quite work out as I had planned. Let me get back into it. Sorry about that little interruption. All right. So we're at Thursday, and I was talking about being able to have the confidence to stand up and tell people what it is you have learned. All right. There gets to a point where in a mentor-student relationship, you must be able to let people know what you've learned thus far. If this is if this is in regards to you finally being confident enough to, maybe you're asking to go do a job unsupervised, or maybe you're just letting your guru know that there are certain spiritual principles that you have learned and you are starting to practice those in life. I don't know, it can take on a few different things, but the transformation is coming. There's got to be a point where you're like, oh my God, I get this. I'm feeling confident to actually start to play these things out in my life. What do you reckon? Like, you're still at that point where you're asking for advice, but you also want it known that you are grasping new concepts, you are seeing change happen, and you're not fighting it. All right. So, the further on we get into the week, the more it is that we are maybe trying to prove ourselves in a situation as well. So just have that confidence. Okay, it's very much about confidence in this Thursday, sort of Wednesday afternoon, Thursday, Friday time slot. All right. So now moving on to Friday. Okay, so the moon moves into Virgo at 3 a.m. ish on Friday morning. Okay, so we are still being challenged to change, but now the moon is going, all right, what are the details here? What are the finer points? Am I maybe if this was a situation where you were changing a job, you'd be looking at the contract. You're like, all right, what are the specifics in the change that I need to be doing? All right, up till now you've just been like, yeah, okay, yeah, I'll take the new job, I'll do the new thing. And here we are, now that the contract is out, you're like, oh, okay, I didn't realize it was a 17-page contract. Let's sit down and work out these finer points. Venus is in a position where she is, like I said, all but standing still. She's doing a radical reassessment of her life. Whenever a planet is stationary, it's like the magnifying glass. It's just huge. The fine print is big. The universe is making it very, very obvious what needs to be addressed from here on. Now, so far in her shadow period, we have had a taster of all the things that she's going to come back and readdress. All right, now she's standing still. She's ready to transform. She's getting down to the nitty-gritty, or starting the nitty-gritty look at this process. And she's adjusting her tiara. or her crown, you know, she's gathered up her robes. And now is the time to really, really start doing the thing. Oh, I better not bang that. All right, so so this is Thursday. Now, as you can see here, we've got this grand square happening, all right? So maybe the old ways, all right, so the old patterns, Sun in Cancer, are challenging you, all right? So the North Node's moving into a we versus me and this independent way forward, and the old ways, Cancer, and the old foundations, Pluto in Capricorn, there's this box, all right? And, you know, like I was saying with the Mars in Virgo opposing Saturn in Pisces, all right? We need to start acknowledging and speaking up about the things that we've learned, so we're not boxed in. We're breaking our way out of the shackles of an old system here, all right? So, you know, like there's going to be tension around this week, but it's okay because you have the knowledge that is required already. It's just moving through the discomfort and, you know, the new outfit that you've got on. Maybe it's a bit itchy, maybe it hasn't been, or obviously it hasn't been worn in yet. So you are just feeling your way into a new experience. Okay, let's move forward to Saturday. All right. Now, Saturday, we've got, you know, the sun is just about to move into that 29th degree where we have the culmination of all the lessons of Cancer. And, you know, the Pluto is also at that 29th degree. It feels like today we are handing over power to the new guard, potentially. All right. And so this might just be you acknowledging and finally accepting that things are changing and that you bless the new way forward, maybe, you know, you know, we don't want to be overly aggressive in, you know, in the rejection of a new experience. You know, it's much easier to just say okay and acknowledge that there is always a change in power. Okay, there's always going to be a new cycle starting. There's always going to be a new matriarch or patriarch. You know, this is the cycle of life. Hand over the reins easily. Therefore, you leave with the respect deserved from the work that you have done, rather than make it an awkward and potentially frustrating letting go of power. I hope that makes sense. All right. Now, going into Sunday all day, huge day. All right. Now, firstly, we have the Pluto square the nodes. That is happening early in the morning, I think at 3:13 a.m. All right. You cannot halt change. Pluto transformation squaring the way forward and the way that we have already come. All right. You cannot hold the baby in just because you don't want to push. That baby is going to come whether you like it or not. All right. So this is Pluto saying release what is no longer needed and allow the new things to come. All right. Now, second, Venus goes retrograde at 11:32 a.m. on Sunday. So, you know, this 40-day and 40-night or 42-day process has started. All right. The internal reflection is most potent right now. She's stationary and looking within. All right. Now, I'll talk more about Venus retrograde over the coming weeks. All right. The third thing, 18 minutes after Venus goes retrograde, the sun moves into Leo. Venus has got, in 18 minutes, she goes from, oh, I'm all feely and I'm looking back there to right. What's dulling my shine? Where do I want to find the sparkle in my life again? The sun in Leo is all about creativity, romance, children, that heart space, that where things grow. So that's pretty full on, that, you know, like so soon after Venus goes retrograde, she changes her mind and we are off at a run. All right. So now after that, the moon goes into Libra, which Venus rules. All right. So that is going to be at 3:54 in the afternoon. Okay. Now, what does this mean? Not only are we going, where is this radical reassessment? I want some sparkle back in my life. When the moon moves into Libra and Venus is retrograde, she's going to be looking at the relationships in her life. And she's like, you are the thing that is dulling my shine. So, so the Sun Pluto opposition requires honesty. All right. So if you have a very obvious thing in your life that is making you unhappy, then it must be addressed. All right. Pluto is just going to keep digging unless, Pluto has a tendency to rip things out at the roots. So if you can see something that needs just trimming by acknowledging that the other party is emotionally mature enough to handle some truth talk and therefore adjust their behavior so that you feel like you are honored the way you should be, then great day for it. Because otherwise, there is just going to be destruction. So it's truth or destruction. Take your pick. All right. And then not only that, finally, we have Chiron going retrograde as well. And that, I believe, is at 10:42 that evening. So all day Sunday, we have so many massive internal changes happening. So when Chiron goes retrograde, this is where Chiron is in Aries, where the nodes are now, and Chiron is acknowledging the wounds that have happened because our sparkle has been dulled. What are the things that hold you back from independently moving forward with the vigor and enthusiasm that Aries holds? So this whole week is just full of not new understandings, old understandings of situations in your life. We've come to a turning point. There's another turning point in August when Venus meets the Sun on August the 13th. But this is a point where we are, you have to stop and take check of all your relationships. You have to look at your finances. You have to look at the comfort and in your life. Like, okay, I know I'm getting a little bit excited, but we're in for a big week. So reach out to me if you would like to have a chart done. Would you like to have a life assessment? Having a look at your natal chart can definitely show you where the universe is asking you to investigate further. So you can either reach out to me via my website, booking system. Come and visit me at Lifetime to Level Up in the mornings and just reach out via Messenger. I'm always open to chatting, and in the mornings, my Facebook, you can get daily guidance. So thank you so much for listening and watching till now, and take care, and I'll see you next week.